Breaking news! Breaking news! Breaking news, buckaroos! Huge Hillary Clinton-linked lawyer indicted in Russiagate probe. Buckaroos! Huge Hillary Clinton-linked lawyer indicted in Russiagate probe. Buckaroos! Huge Hillary Clinton-linked lawyer indicted in Russiagate probe by Zero Hedge. What's up with this? Hillary frickin' something or other? Update. Grand jury. Breaking news! Has indicted Michael Sussman, the lawyer accused of making false statements during the 2016 presidential campaign to slander then-candidate Donald Trump in the final months of the election. Sussman, the indictment charges, lied about the capacity in which he was providing ... allegations to the FBI of potential cyber links between a Russian bank and a company owned by former President Donald Trump. Durham is pursuing a prosecutorial theory that Sussman was secretly representing Hillary Clinton's presidential campaign, which was a client of Sussman's firm, these people said, per the Washington CIA Post. Notably, this is far from over, as Special Counsel Durham's office pointed out in a statement that the investigation is ongoing. Highlights from the Washington Free Beacon's Chuck Ross and others. Chuck Ross says the FBI opened an investigation of Alpha Bank based on the information that Michael Sussman gave to James Baker, even though Sussman knew the info was bogus. As Durham notes, the FBI wasted its time and resources chasing the false leads. In the days how long is this? All right, so it's just a tweet. In the days following Sussman's meeting with the FBI General Counsel, and as a result of the meeting, the FBI opened an investigation of the Russian Bank 1 allegation. Sussman false statement to the FBI General Counsel was material to that investigation because, among other reasons, it was relevant to the FBI whether the conveyor of these allegations, Sussman, was providing them as an ordinary citizen merely passing along information, or whether he was instead doing so as a paid advocate for clients with a political or business agenda. Had Sussman truthfully disclosed that he was representing specific clients, it might have prompted the FBI General Counsel to ask Sussman for the identity of such clients, which in turn might have prompted further questions. In addition, absent Sussman's false statements, the FBI might have taken additional or more incremental steps before opening and closing an investigation. The FBI also might have allocated its resources differently or more effectively or efficiently, and uncovered more complete information about the reliability and provenance of the purported date at issue. Chuck Ross says, this is huge. A tech executive who Sussman represented discussing a fake... Stop it. Discussing a link between the Trump Organization and Alpha Bank. The execs and other researchers also doubted that there were nefarious contacts involving Trump Organization, but Sussman would later claim to FBI and media that there were. Oh, the dirty bird? This is huge. Okay. On or about August 2016, Originator 1 emailed Tech Executive 1, Researcher 1, Researcher 2, stating, among other things, that even if we found what Tech Executive 1 asked us to find in DNS, we don't see the money flow, and we don't see the content of some messages saying, send the money here. Originator 1 then explained that it would be possible to fill out a sales form on two websites, faking the other company's email address in each form, and thereby causing them to appear to communicate with each other in DNS. Originator 1 then concluded, if Tech Executive 1 can take the inference we gain through this team exercise, ... then work to develop an interference may be worthwhile, ... It's just not the case that you can assured that Hillary's opposition research and whatever professional governments and investigative journalists also digging up will come up with the same things. Asterisks in original. It goes on or about Tatiana Fairbanks. Hold on. Okay. On or about 21/16, Tech Executive 1 emailed the recipients, urging them to push forward with additional research concerning Trump, which he stated would give the base of a very useful narrative. Later in the same email, Tech Executive One expressed his own belief that the TrumpEmail.com domain, referring to the subject of the allegations that Sussman conveyed to the FBI, was not a secret communications channel with Russian Bank One, but a red herring, noting that the host for the domain is a legitimate, valid customer relationship management company. Tech Executive One therefore concluded that we can ignore it, together with others that seem to be part of the marketing world. On or about August 22nd, 16, Researcher One emailed the aforementioned recipients expressing continued doubt regarding the Russian Bank One allegations that Sussman would later convey to the FBI and raising concerns about the researcher's bias against Trump. All right. Now, Sussman billed the Clinton campaign for the time he spent meeting with reporters to plant the phony Alpha Bank story. Sussman billed the Clinton campaign for the time he spent meeting with the reporters to plant the phony Alpha Bank story. In or around the same period, Sussman acting on behalf of Tech Executive One and the Clinton campaign disseminated the Russian Bank One allegations to the media. Sussman billed this time to the Clinton campaign. Chuck Ross, verified over on the Dirty Bird, says, new and interesting information in the Sussman indictment. His tech executive client allegedly assessed non-public information about him, and they coordinated all of this with agents of the Clinton campaign. The walls closing in? Below, it might have learned, among other things, that one, in compiling and analyzing the Russian Bank One allegations, Tech Executive One had exploited his access to non-public data at multiple internet companies to conduct opposition research concerning Trump. Two, in furtherance of these efforts, Tech Executive One had enlisted and was continuing to enlist the assistance of researchers at a U.S.-based university who were receiving and analyzing internet data in connection with a pending federal government cybersecurity research contract. And three, Sussman, Tech Executive One, and Law Firm One had coordinated and were continuing to coordinate with representatives of the agents of the Clinton campaign with regard to the data and written material that Sussman gave to the FBI and the media. This is huge. A tech executive who Sussman represented discussed faking a link between the Trump Organization and Alpha Bank. The executive and other researchers also doubted that there were nefarious contacts involving Trump Organization, but Sussman would later claim to FBI and the media that there were. Nerd immunity. I should stop here, but this is a damning indictment of the FBI, not Sussman. Sussman is a Perkins Coie lawyer. We expect this behavior. It does not matter who hands the evidence to FBI. FBI should have asked, where did you get this from? So they can verify it. Looks like they did not. Oh, shikadanza. Had the FBI uncovered the originations of the relevant data and analysis as alleged, Tech Executive One exploited his access to non-public data to multiple internet companies to conduct opposition research concerning Trump. Got it. Whoops. Oof, size large. A law firm for a presidential campaign had access to federal contract data and gave it to the presidential candidate during the election cycle for political purposes. I don't think that's allowed. Pending federal government cybersecurity research contract. Representatives of the agents of the Clinton campaign with regard to the data and written materials. From Sussman indictment, do you realize that we will have to expose every trick we have in our bag to even make a very weak association? The only thing that drives us at this point is that we just do not like Trump. This will not fly in the eyes of the public scrutiny. You realize that we will have to expose every trick we have in our bag to even make a very weak association? The only thing that drives us at this point is that we do not like Trump. This will not fly in the eyes of the public scrutiny. Read full indictment below. I'll link it up. Articles and major like can I make this bigger? According to the Federal Bureau of Tatiana, Michael Sussman, defendant of herein, a lawyer major international law firm, requested held with the FBI General Counsel on or about September 19th, 2016. Headquarters, District D.C. Sussman provided FBI General Counsel the 3 white papers along with data files alleging containing evidence supporting the existence of this purported secret communications channel. During the meeting, Sussman lied about the capacity in which he was providing the allegations to the FBI. Specifically, Sussman stated falsely that he was not doing his work on the aforementioned allegations for any client, which led the FBI General Counsel to understand that Sussman was acting as a good citizen, merely passing along information, not as paid advocate or political operative. In fact, as an alleged in further detail below, this statement was intentionally false and misleading because in assembling and conveying these allegations, Sussman acted on behalf of specific clients, namely one technology industry executive, a U.S. internet company, and the Hillary Clinton presidential campaign. Sussman's lie was material because, among other reasons, Sussman's false statement misled the FBI General Counsel and other FBI personnel concerning the political nature, so they're basically covering up all their Tatiana. Access to all kinds of stuff, opposition, Sussman Tech Executive, continue to coordinate with representatives and agents of the Clinton campaign with regard to data and written materials Sussman gave to the FBI media. Secret communications channel with Russian bank. Particularly, among other things, the FBI's investigation revealed that the email server at issue was not owned or operated by the Trump organization, but rather had been administered by a mass marketing email company that sent advertisements for Trump hotels and hundreds of other clients. The defendant, at all times relevant to this indictment, Sussman was employed at a law firm. Previously, Sussman was employed by the U.S. Department of Justice, or the DOJ, in various capacities. In his work at DOJ, Sussman became familiar with U.S. criminal law, taking Title 18, United States Code, Section 1001, which criminalizes the making of materially false statements to U.S. officials. And I'll leave it linked up right here, because it goes on here, you know. Special Counsel John Durham is reportedly seeking a grand jury indictment to indict an attorney reportedly representing Hillary Clinton's presidential campaign for peddling a fake story in 2016 that the Trump campaign was using a secret server to communicate with a Russian bank, a lie promoted by Hillary Clinton herself right before the 2016 U.S. election. According to the Central Post, Michael Sussman, a cybersecurity lawyer and partner at Perkins Coie, pushed the theory that computer scientists had discovered secret server connections between Trump and Alpha Bank, an allegation which was then amplified through left-wing media chambers such as Slate as part of their ongoing full-court press against Trump. New York Times reports that Durham, the special counsel appointed by former President Trump to scrutinize the FBI's Russia investigation, will charge Sussman with lying to the FBI. The case against Mr. Sussman centers on the question of who his client was when he conveyed certain suspicions about Mr. Trump and Russia to the FBI in 16 of September. Among other things, investigators have examined whether Mr. Sussman was secretly working for the Clinton campaign, which he denies. The accusation against Mr. Sussman, focusing on a meeting he had September 1916 with James A. Baker, who was familiar with the matter. They spoke on condition of anonymity because of a 5-year statute of limitations for such cases. Mr. Durham has a deadline of this weekend to bring a charge over activity from that date. At the meeting, Mr. Sussman relayed data and analysis from cybersecurity researchers who thought that odd internet data might be evidence of a covert communications channel between computer servers associated with the Trump organization and with Alpha Bank, a Kremlin-linked Russian financial institution, per the New York Times. Breaking down the news of the indictment, it's journalist and attorney Glenn Greenwald. He says, the special counsel investigating the various frauds of Russiagate, John Durham, is about to indict Perkins Coie lawyer for feeding a fake story about Trump and Alpha Bank to the FBI and media, then lying by denying he represented the Clinton campaign. Durham is said to seek indictment of lawyer at firm with Democrat ties, apparently. The scam that Trump was using secret servers to communicate with the Russian bank was promoted by Hillary herself and touted by media outlets led by Slate. Like so much of the compromised Russiagate, was a total fraud concocted by the DNC and media allies. A group of computer scientists believe a Trump server was Reed Franklin's foes follow-up. And scum DNC lawyer links... In sum, a DNC-linked lawyer partners with Clinton lawyer, this Marcellus, fabricated a Trump-Russia link, fed it to the DNC operatives masquerading as journalists, had Hillary trumpet it, then lied to the FBI, who he worked for. Russiagate in a nutshell? Hillary Clinton. Computer scientists have apparently uncovered a covert server linking the Trump organization to a Russian-based bank. I'm with her. Statement from Jake Sullivan on new report exposing Trump's secret line of communication to Russia. Glenn Greenwald says, remember that an FBI lawyer pled guilty to lying to FISA court in order to obtain warrants to spy on former Trump campaign official Carter Page. The real criminals weren't people colluding with Russia, but those who perpetuated the Russiagate fraud. This is ex-FBI lawyer gets probation for falsifying Carter Page surveillance. As Chuck Ross, D.C. notes, the Hillary lawyer about to be indicted for Russiagate's lying helped New York Times national security reporter Charlie Savage promote his last book. Savage not only was the one who spread the CIA lie about Russian bounties in Afghanistan, but also spread this gem. The U.S. clearly has a remarkable intelligence line of sight into ISIS-K right now. And then it was in reference to this by Jonathan Lemire. U.S. officials drone strikes vehicle with multiple suicide bombers on the way to Kabul airport. Threat believed eliminated. Savage has done a good job and important reporting in the past, but there's probably no corporate journalist except Bob Woodward more linked to and intertwined with Democrat security state operatives. And that's what happens when reporters become their tools. Chuck Ross. Go to the Dirty Bird. Chuck Ross. Interesting bit of context when considering the New York Times story about Michael Sussman's imminent indictment. Michael Sussman, Waxman joined Charlie Savage, I guess, here. Complimentary power wars will be provided to each attending the next phase of national security laws. Called Power Wars. Discussion for his new book, Power Wars, I guess, here. As an attorney, Nicholas Davinkin notes, Elias has completely reinvented himself as some voting rights advocate. CLMSNBC covers him without disclosing his very recent role as general counsel to the Clinton campaign and his role in commissioning the Steele dossier. Savage has done a good and important reporting in the past, but there's probably no corporate journalist except Bob Woodward more linked to the intertwined Democrat security state operatives. And that's what happens when reporters become their tools. Also, Elias has completely reinvented himself as some voting rights advocate. See how MSNBC covers him without disclosing his very recent role as general counsel to the Clinton campaign and his role in commissioning the Steele dossier. Daily Caller noted Sussman set off a chain of events that led to Steele publishing September 16 memo accusing the founders of the bank Alpha Bank of having illicit ties to Vladimir Putin before meeting with former UK spy Christopher Steele of bullshit dossier infamy. A week after Steele wrote the memo, he had another meeting with Sussman's colleague Mark Elias. According to the transcript, Steele disclosed the previously unreported meetings with Sussman and Elias during testimony in a defamation lawsuit filed against him by the Alpha Bank founders, the transcript shows. Steele's testimony about Sussman and Elias provides insight into how deeply involved the two lawyers were in the Trump investigation and suggests they helped shape Steele's investigation into possible Russian interference in the 2016 election. DCNF. Very clear, it's the first person that ever mentioned the Trump server issue, Alpha server issue, was Mr. Sussman. Steele told Alpha Bank lawyer Hugh T., according to a March 2020 transcript. Steele then said that Fusion GPS founder Glenn Simpson instructed him to write a report about Alpha Bank based on Sussman's fabrication. I was given the instruction sometime after the meeting by Mr. Simpson, Steele said, adding that Simpson's instruction was absolutely definitely linked to the server issue. As the caller further noted, at the time, Sussman shopped the allegations about the Alpha Bank computer servers around to others besides Steele, including to journalists and the FBI's top lawyer. So that's the whole story, and I'm sticking to it. Hillary